At this time, I'd like to talk a little bit about how you control the color of both the fill as well as the stroke or border around a shape, and how you can make some variations in how each of those look. So the first thing, the most basic, is to know that at the bottom of the main toolbox, there's a box, and behind it, there's a frame. So this frame, like a picture frame, corresponds to the border around any shape that you might have selected. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a complete shape. It could simply be a line. But the icon to allow you to control the way that line behaves is this one. And if I click on this one here, it's going to toggle to the front, and that's going to control or give us options to control the fill of a shape. And again, if we only want one and not the other, which way I can do that, then whatever I have toggled to the front, in this case the fill, if I don't want to fill, I'll click this none button. And if I want that to have a fill, I can give it a fill. In this case, it's white. Toggle list at the front to have no border. And again, I would put a none on it. Okay, so let's see how that works. So I have this shape selected here at the moment, and let's zoom in just a bit. Okay, so we can see that shape has a black border and it has a fill. You can't really tell it's a fill right now because it's white, and of course the artboard is also white. So let's do that first. We're going to toggle the white to the front, or the fill portion to the front, fill control. And over here, we can give color to a shape in several different locations. So I happen to have the swatches window open right now, but let's look at a couple of other options. So here's our color window right here. And then we also have a third window, which is the color guide. Right? Looks like this. And a fourth window would be color themes, which it's loading up there for us. It looks like this. And then the fifth most direct one is right here in the toolbox itself. So let's see how each of those work. So I've got the shape selected. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the toolbox and double click on the fill so that it comes up. When it comes up, it shows me the color picker, which I can click on this kind of rainbow, which gives me different hues to pick from. And then within the big box, I can choose a lighter or darker value of that hue. So at the moment, this little white circle right here, that's telling me what the color would be, or where it's located, I guess, within the hue. And then we see a sample of it right up here. So that's what it looks like here. There's a lighter version of it. There's a darker version of it. And we see it up in this spot. Notice I'm not changing anything over here in this ramp. That's the hue. These are values and tints of that hue. So let's say, well, I don't want purple. So I'm going to click to the blue and I want a lighter shade of blue. So I'm going to pick that one and I say, okay. And since I had the shape selected, it fills it. And it also shows up down here instead of white at the bottom of the toolbox. Now, one of the things that I'm going to suggest to you always, no matter where you create the color, when we've just created it in this spot, we're going to create it in these other 4 places. But after you make it, then you're going to want to save that color so you can potentially use it again. So you need the swatches window open. All of these are available, and I know you can't see this in the recording, but at the very, very, very top of your window, your screen, it'll say Illustrator in the far left. It'll say, if you're using a Mac, it'll have the little apple in the far left. Then it'll say Illustrator. And then if you go along that line, there'll be the menu item that is called Window. So that's what I have pressed right now. and down, that's where I found the color guide, color themes, and down here, the swatches window. So the swatches window is what I'm concerned with at the moment so that I can save my color. So this is the color that I want to save. It's located here. It's also showing up here. And if you notice, it's also showing up in this spot and also the color guide. So whatever color that I have that I've been working with at that moment, it's going to show up in all of these color options because you might want to do something with it there. But it isn't saved yet. So what I want to do is do that. I'm over here in the swatches window and I'm going to just press on that color and drag it down here into the swatches, let it go, and it's added to the default colors that are a part of the program when you open it up. I've now created this custom color that's going to be a part of my drawing file. So that's in there. And so now I can actually select my shape. I can double click it, create a different color, put on it, see if I like it better. And I decided, no, I don't like that color. I want the color I had in there a moment ago. So I just go back over to the swatches palette and click on the color that I had before. It might've been a color that I picked the day before, but it's gonna now be in the swatches. It's like a little library. Okay, so that's how you can make the colors through here. Let's go to further in the swatches palette. So you have these other default colors that are in there. Well, maybe one of those default colors is perfectly fine for what you want. You might want a pure yellow. So there it is, and it's already a swatch. So, or you might want any one of these other ones. And notice there's also some patterns in here that you may or may not want. They're just default settings. I'm going to stick with the solid colors for the moment. So this is a default red color that's already a part of the swatches. All right, let's make colors a different way. Here is the color window up here. And again, opening it from the window at the top of the screen. And I can put any color in there, or I can simply click on its hue bar at the bottom. So I could have started with the default color, or I could click from here to put a color in there. Either way, now I have a color in the color maker up here, and it's making it according to cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. That's what the CMY and K stand for: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And it's a way that color is mixed as if it was going to be printed on a commercial press. So I'm not going to talk about all of those things about how color is actually made yet, either for the screen, which would be RGB, or for print on a press, which is again a CMYK. I'm not going to go into all that right now, except to say that the correct word for those are gamuts. So this is the CMYK gamut, G-A-M-U-T. And in the CMYK gamut is how this color is being created by mixing these. It's like a recipe. So I can change the recipe. Let's say I want more yellow. So I'm just going to move this slider over here, and I can see the result of that mixture and instead, or maybe move this slider and this slider, so I can try out different combinations of the recipe of the color gamut of CMYK and I can see different results right here on the spot. Okay, so that is yet another way. Let's say that's the color I want. Again, I want to save that to my swatches. It's showing up in the swatch window. I simply press there and drag down, drop it, and now we can see that it's located and saved in my swatch library. Okay, so that's the color mixer here. The color guide is, I don't know if this is my third or fourth way now. So this is, well, I think it's the fourth way. So I'm in here, and this is a way to see different variations of color harmony. So at the moment, I'm seeing tints and shades based on the last color I used, which is this one. Well, I could click on this one instead and see different colors and shades based on it. But the color guide shows color harmonies in more ways than just shades and tints. And I can see those others by going up in the top, and the far right-hand corner are these 3 horizontal short lines. That's a symbol that you'll find on all the windows, and that's how you can find additional options for that window. So in this case, I want to find additional options for the color guide window. So I'm going to click on that, and I can see color guide options. So I'm going to click on that one, and I can see, in this case, more steps. So I'm going to increase the number of steps, say okay. And now I see shades and tints, but I see, I guess, smaller increments between each one that shows up here. I'm going to go back to the options again, and I'm going to go to warm and cool colors. So now I see warm and cools, again, based on that color, but I see that variation. And oops, I didn't want to go there yet. And I can also see vivid and muted colors, so I can see them this way. So that's under the options up here. And the one that I accidentally clicked on just a second ago is the one I really like. And so with this one, on the far right of it, I don't know why these aren't also located under the options tab, but they're not. They're right here, and you just click this downward arrow, and here we see different color harmonies. So complementary colors is a form of color harmony. Here's a split complementary option. Here are some analogous colors, monochromatic versions, and so forth. So tetrads, all sorts of different ones here that if you're trying to build a design and have the colors that you use relate to one another in terms of some kind of harmony, then this is an easy way to start to see what some of them might be if you've chosen your main color. So let's say this gray-green that I have is my main color, and I wanted to see what some analogous colors would be, some other ones that would go with it. So I'm going to click on that, and I see these. So analogous, meaning it's very similar to, but go with it because of its similarity. They are also muted and vivid versions of the analogous palette. If I went back up here to tints and shades, I'm now seeing tints and shades of those analogous colors. So I've just answered my question of why these aren't all in the same place, because they work independently. I'm going to go back to vivid and muted versions of analogous color harmony. And I'm going to change it one more time. Let's look at this complementary color palette in muted and vivid colors. So now what that means is I can pick something out of here. I'm going to pick this color and drag it over into the color swatches. And I'm going to pick a couple of other ones that I think I might want to use, but I don't know yet. So I picked those two, and then let's pick a lighter one of those. So now I've built up some over here based on the available options of vivid to muted complementary colors. Okay, so now to use that, I can create other shapes. So I'll just use the oval tool, and I can select any one of those colors out of there. So I filled it with that color. I'm going to toggle the frame to the front and give it one of those other colors. And I also want that border to be a little thicker. So I'm going to go up under the stroke and increase it a bit. And so now I've got that thing going on. So not a terribly great design, but it's the idea of using colors that I've picked, created according to a theme, and then I have applied them to shapes, and there's a harmony between those colors. The last way of creating color that you have is from the Adobe Color Themes window. So that's this one right here. And so if I have this background shape corrected again, I'm going to, in that color theme window, I'm getting this. And so I can vary this down here by value. I can create a theme based on it. So that's, is this one, that's that one. There we go, that's the one in the middle, and that's there, and so forth. So if I move this, spread it out, now I have more difference between, or between each of the colors that's in this theme. And so then I can save that theme, and then that will be one that I can work, well, I needed to name it, sorry. I needed to name it in my library. And then I can pick from it, just like I was picking from the color harmonies. Okay. So that's how you work with solid colors. There's some other things we can do with gradients and with patterns and things like that for the fill in lines, but I'm going to save that demo for another time. Okay.